How are the new startups changing the whole BTech degrees in Indian colleges?
You come to this new age program, you'll get 10x out of it.
Domino effect, I believe, is playing in the BTech in computer science education today.
I believe the biggest reason why everybody is so hung up on placements today is that seems to be the only objective measure.
How are the new startups changing the whole BTech degrees in Indian colleges? And what will college education look like in the next 3-4 years? Let's discuss this with Rajesh, the founder and CEO of KALVIUM. Let's go, and thank you for tuning into yet another episode of Goventure. I am Rajesh Kumar, आपका host and co-founder of Functional. मैंने startups बनाए हैं, बंद भी किए हैं. Hence, on Goventure Podcast, we serve as a friendly reminder on all the things to do to grow and achieve your dreams. Join our group in the description to share stuff and startup networking with like-minded folks. And lastly, thank you for all the love and comments that you share. It means a lot. So, Rajesh, shifting gears. KALVIUM runs new engineering programs in partnerships with colleges, right? Much needed, right? At Functional School of Technology also we do the same where we revamp, effectively revamp computer science education across colleges, right? So we both understand what is the need for such a program. But larger audience के लिए, I want to talk about something specific. मुझे याद है हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि ये अटेम्प्ट बाय स्टार्टअप्स की कॉलेज एजुकेशन को चेंज करें, ये कोई नई बात नहीं है, राइट? आई नर्चर, इमेजिन एक्सपी एंड इवन सनस्टोन कर ही रहे हैं, राइट? सो क्या डिफरेंट है अब इस न्यू अप्रोच में?
So I think by and large, what even this whole external parties coming in and partnering with universities and changing the landscape is not something yesterday, day before. iNurture has been an OG of this space, right? 10 plus years, if not longer. And Imagine XP has been there for a while, and in parts, a lot of other companies like Upgrad has been trying to influence curriculum, pedagogy, multiple things. But I think what the most recent crop of companies like your company, my company, Newton School of Technology, and whoever else is out there, and Upgrad campus is also coming up in a big way, trying to. I think previous generation of these companies essentially came in and said, look, I'm looking at your college running as like 4 parts or 3 parts, depending on how you view it. There is the infrastructure, there is a person who's going to come in and deliver the program. There is the curriculum that needs to be done, curriculum and content, and there is placement. Depending if you're doing tech programs, you'll worry about placements too. If you're not doing non-tech programs, you'll not worry as much about placements. It was almost like a third-party service to help you run the non-infra parts, is what it was in the past. And I think that's where those generation of companies also kind of in some sense lost steam around. They almost took a very vendor-like approach. सर हमारे आपके पास मतलब फैकल्टी नहीं है, हम फैकल्टी लगाएंगे. आपको मतलब स्टूडेंट रिक्रूट करने में थोड़ी दिक्कत हो रही है, हम रिक्रूट करेंगे. आपको मतलब कंटेंट करिकुलम enhance करने में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, हम इंडस्ट्री कनेक्ट लाएंगे. So it's almost like a very piecemeal sort of an approach. But the new age ones that I'm seeing, what all of us are doing is taking a very holistic approach. You have at the start of a journey a student. There's a certain promise that we're making to the student, saying that you go to a traditional program, you'll get ABCD things. You come to this new age program, you'll get 10x out of it. And there is enough, I believe there is enough deliberation that has gone into making that commitment too. And that is why I think where the whole difference is. And because of this very differentiated approach around owning outcomes and not just the components of it from a offering to the institution perspective, the respect that the new age companies command for the university partners is also very different. I'm not being looked upon as a vendor who will just provide human resources to run the program, whereas I'm being looked upon as somebody who is here to substantially augment the outcome of the student, and hence the thoda barabari ka relationship hai. It was always previously, I think even my previous organization at Facebook, we had a very similar. University wants something, we'll go deliver something. और उसके लिए आप मतलब वेंडर हो. वेंडर वाला इकोसिस्टम vis a vis पार्टनर वाला इकोसिस्टम, that is the fundamental difference, I believe, that is helping change the whole narrative itself.
I think hearing you out, I want to add something here that at function अपना थोड़ा सा we are critical of the way universities are run, right? Uh, we have a very similar program at Function School of Technology, and our thought behind Function School of Technology was the strong belief that see, even the best universities aren't that good. That is what our belief is, right? Be it the IITs or Harvard, MIT, जो भी है, they have a brilliant brand, बहुत अच्छा brand बनाया, but they're very overrated. I mean, let's say कि कोई भी एक यूनिवर्सिटी स्टार्ट करता है, let's say any random person starts a university and they say कि cut offs have to be at least 95% in boards and IQ आपका इतना होना चाहिए, 140 होना चाहिए, and let's say बाकी सब कुछ यूनिवर्सिटी का एवरेज है, and अगर they manage to get people to join, it would instantly become one of the greatest universities in the world, right? That's what's happening with the Harvards and the IITs today. With these universities, आप देखोगे कि let's say you start this university, आप देखोगे कि instantly within 20-30 years billionaires निकल रहे हैं, leaders हैं सारे, right? That's what's happening with the IITs and the Harvards. They have a good filtration mechanism. Requirements इतने strict हैं कि you are already taking the top of the cream, or at least good 70-80% बच्चे, yep, 70-80% बच्चे जो top of the cream है at least. But over the 4 years, value add जो यूनिवर्सिटी में हो रहा है, be it IIT, Harvard जो भी है, is not remarkably different from another decent or good college. I was talking to someone doing MBA at Wharton. वहाँ भी Wharton, which is probably a top MBA college in the world, वहाँ भी same story है, similar story है. Top colleges are super overrated, and I think that's the power of brand, right? ये सारी top universities ने, they have built a solid brand over time and are now reaping the benefits and attracting the best and the most hardworking talent, right? So I think that is changing a lot. जो यूनिवर्सिटी के साइड से या जो भी एक एजुकेशन प्लेयर के साइड से जो promises हैं, that have started to come in with KALVIUM, with Function Up and Newton and all of that coming into picture now. And I'm hoping that the education piece will change, like you said, not just in a piecemeal manner, but probably holistic थोड़े से. But I want to talk about थोड़ा सा Calvi and
agree with you on that.
Yeah, please.
So primarily, you're spot on in calling it out, Nitish. I think in the past, why all these premier institutions also survived or rather thrived was on account of the fact that there's no KALVIUM, there's no Function Up that were there in the past, I would believe. कोई था नहीं कोई challenge करता कि मतलब यार traditional बनाया चीज क्यों करना है. And second of all, for the longest, from a society perspective, formal education still ruled the roost. I mean, this is like something what you take to yourself, irrespective of आप कितना धन दौलत बनाओ ना बनाओ, आपकी पढ़ाई तो आपके पास रहने वाली है. What इतने सारे cinemas में देख के ठोस ठोक के मतलब it's been so hard ingrained into our heads. So society has by and large come to appreciate and respect the over significance of college education way too much is what I believe, and now that is changing. Disruptive models are getting accepted, and I think that's also by and large got to do with the increasing affluence levels and confidence of us as Indians. Like हम शायद 10 साल पहले ये करते, कोई मतलब टच भी नहीं करता, क्या बात कर रहे हो, IIT ये है वो है, मैं वहाँ जाऊँगा ना तुम पे से भी हूँ, मतलब why should I even trust you is what they would have said. But today we get like thousands of applications. That's happening because of I think as a country we're also getting more and more confident and mature, willing to take chances and build things out. I think it's right time, right place.
Yeah, I think that debate has been. Last time मुझे याद है जब हम बात करते हैं, we were talking about the debate between ये traditional colleges and degrees का relevance क्या रहेगा. ये एक decade से पुराना हो गया, एक decade क्या multiple decade से पुराना हो गया है debate ये. And I believe high time कि थोड़ा सा. But how do you see, मतलब since कि मतलब I frankly speaking last time जब हम discuss करते तो we were seeing कि ये तो रहने वाला है, ऐसा नहीं कि गायब हो जाएगा, right? So how do you see the long term impact of say something like what you are building at KALVIUM, a Function Up? How do you see the long term impact of that?
It will change. So we're still like a significant minority, right? In terms of absolute numbers. But I believe as outcome starts happening, materializing, see the good or bad about what we are doing is it takes time. 4 साल लग जाता है एक कोई बच्चे को बाहर निकालते निकालते, उसको थोड़ा मतलब एस्टेब्लिश करने के 4-5 साल और लग जाएगा for him to go out and say, because I was a KALVIUM product, because I was a function product, and I have like really been able to do so well in life, for him or her to like go achieve that certain level of success, it's going to be another, if not 10 years, at least 4 or 5 years. That is when such models will become mainstream. So I would imagine another 4 or 5 years for us to become a very viable alternative, and probably 10 years to probably be the mainstream as alternative models go by, is where I'll put my guess at. In some sense, 10 साल में मतलब I think traditional education system either would have substantially pivoted and absorbed the way we are approaching all of these systems, or they would have ceased to exist, and then probably education is still going to be regulated, is what I will imagine. Nobody is going to give us a free pass just yet. Maybe at least 5 years later things might change from a regulation perspective, but I'm very, very confident that the holistic nature and the outcome-driven approach that we're bringing in will massively take over slowly to start with, and then there will be a significant lift-off from a trajectory.
Yep. I think, Rajesh, this is one of my favorite topics to discuss actually, and one of the things that I'm very bullish on. I have one more thing to discuss here, and probably so एक सवाल आता है ना कि does one really need to go to college to succeed? देखो एक राजेश आप देखोगे तो एक क्विक आंसर ना नो हो सकता है कि सब कुछ अवेलेबल है, राइट? बट एंड आल्सो इफ यू लुक एट द वर्ल्ड, फॉर एग्जांपल Steve Jobs dropped out of college after one semester or something like that. Bill Gates, he left Harvard, the top college in the world. Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard. Walt Disney never went to college, right? And I think he might have been the most creative person ever on earth, maybe because he didn't go to college. Peter Thiel, he has this fellowship to support college dropouts, and OYO founder Ritesh didn't even go to college and was part of the Thiel fellowship. But practically speaking, मतलब हम तो अगर theoretically बात करें तो कोई कॉलेज जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, सब कुछ अवेलेबल है. But practically speaking, college does give you the basic skills and a network that you gain for your entire life. So very larger question. Practically speaking, do you think college plays a role in success in life?
Right. So let's just double click on what does a college offer. See, high school tak to matlab by and large focus, I believe not just in India, across the world also, the focus and emphasis is significantly on literacy, numeracy, picking certain specific knowledge aspects of it, so that the person is able to like find a trade of his or her choice and attain skills so that he or she is able to become a profession, choose a profession and pursue that for economic stability and whatnot. तो स्कूल और कॉलेज का तो मतलब बहुत क्लियर है. कॉलेज का काम है कि मतलब स्किल्स इम्पार्ट करें ताकि बच्चा कल जाके he can be economically independent. That is the very, very high level expectation out of a college, whether the person becomes an entrepreneur, whether the person becomes a salaried person, gets into services, whatever is the case. So skills or ability to do something with their life is what is the primary expectation. Second thing that a college provides is social skills. While in school also significant emphasis these days are given on social skills and everything, but you are so much more closer to the real world. In schools you're still by and large cocooned by your parents, you're provided for and all of those things. When you're in college, you're by and largely getting exposed to the real world, all the ups and downs and everything. You're also growing older as a person, maturity, emotional stability, and all of those things. These two are what, in my view, what college is supposed to provide. Now, if you look at all the, this is like a baseline thing, right? Irrespective whether you want to be the world's best at something or you just want to make ends meet, you still need these two. You need to get by in the society, and you need to have certain skills, certain abilities so that you can be economically gainful. These two are the expectations. Now, of course, like you called out, all of these superstars who have been exceptions, I think they're all that 0.001% of people who've gone on to become greats in their own right. Various reasons, from early triggers in their childhood to opportunities that they latched on to, or just plain providence or luck, as they call it, right? But if you look at, by and large, the significant majority would still need some structure. Now, if you look at, I'm sure all of us went through this when we just got out of colleges, right? Till the time we were in school and college, our life was very simple. We just had to go attend, we had to do tasks, assignments, exams, and our life was that's just that. But once you're on your own, whether it is in a job or starting up or anything, you're required to like start solving for so many other things. The part what basically gives the maturity for somebody to start taking decisions and everything, I believe college still has a meaningful role to play if you make the most of it. Like, college is not just classrooms, right? Skills and abilities in the classroom, theek hai. In a utopian world, wo nahi ho raha hai, wo alag baat hai. That's why you and I exist as organizations. Let's not even get into that. But I would imagine maturity levels, the extracurricular activities, the social skills that the college provides is still a very significant value add. That's why, despite whatever not so great, despite going to top institutions, despite and probably not getting great education outcomes, we still relish our college days because it just fantastically shaped up as individuals. So I would say college will still play a role for a significant majority of the population to provide for all the social skills, confidence that they need to have to face the real world and all of those things. I would say college, or a place where a lot of people come together to consume or get skilled. So I'm just expanding the scope of college to the point. It could just be that any place where there are like tens of hundreds of people can come in a collective manner, attain skills, cultivate abilities, and in the process also gain social skills will still be a thing. They're not going away, at least not in the immediate. If not in the immediate, even the medium term, I would imagine. In our lifetimes, I don't see them going away.
Yeah. I think the discussion has come to a very interesting bit. And पता है, I noticed how you just आप बात कर रहे थे कि not just college but expand करा उसका definition को, right? कि a place where people come together to learn, say, real world skills, या जो आपको higher education skills train in us, right? That's what college is. I think and पता है मतलब what has happened is so far ना कि the top outcomes and why colleges are probably very popular, still very popular, is कि सारे जो top outcomes है ना have come from conventional colleges, right? Especially with the IITs and the BITs leading the way. But now that could change with the stuff that we are doing will actually lead to better outcomes than the IITs maybe someday. Maybe not in brand value, but definitely in terms of career outcomes. ये तो obvious है, value creation and long run में, right? I believe the जो ये नया क्रेडिट फ्रेमवर्क है ना जो यूजीसी ने निकाला है and the new policies that allow for disrupting the old college methodology is a game changer. It's a massive game changer. What that has done is not just allowed for ऐसा नहीं बस मैं और आप players like us are able to enter, but it has also showed the path for bolder disruptions. मतलब is not just that we were able to enter क्योंकि open था. Bolder disruptions, in fact, overall, na thought process वो enter कर पा रहा है. In fact, a lot of these were just maybe these are just as feasible. What you're doing today were just as feasible, maybe even 2-3 years or a decade back, right? But the change in mindset and जो ये welcome message है, आओ, right? That message that got sent out was probably the most impactful. इसका domino effect है that we will see in the coming years is anyone's guess. I think partly we have already started witnessing it with a lot of players coming in the last 1 year alone. What happens is that to be able to now make a disruptive change, you need to be a leader of the gang, right? You look at the MBA domain, what happens is कि IIMs ना खुद ही lead कर रहे थे इस gang को. उन्होंने बोला यार MBA की डिग्री क्या करोगे करके? आओ हम PGDM देंगे ना आपको, ठीक है? And then what that led is कि वहाँ से ISB also came in कि फिर PG लेने मैं डिप्लोमा दे रहा हूँ आपको, आओ मेरे पास, right? And ISB came in back and already eroded significance of MBA degree जो कर रखा था IIMs ने उसके ऊपर and said कि हम 1 साल करेंगे, right? And that's what now a similar domino effect I believe is playing in the BTech in computer science education today. How much time this will take? I think ये anyone's guess right now. But let's just keep fucking playing our roles, I believe. Right?
Absolutely. I
I
would
think.
imagine the disruption is going to be sooner, like we've been discussing, right? The openness to change is substantially already there. We work with almost all top universities like Manipal, VIT, Kalinga, you name the top brands, we work with them. 2 years back, we knew all of these folks from the past also, when we spoke to all of them, nobody would even touch us. क्या बात कर रहे हो यार, मतलब तुम्हें जो आता है वो करो, ऑलमोस्ट प्लेसमेंट ट्रेनिंग कर रहे थे ना, वही करना, अभी क्यों मतलब डिग्री विग्री में आ रहे हो करके, ऑलमोस्ट well intentioned, but they were still like very sure that what they're doing is right and यही चलना चाहिए. But आज वैसा नहीं है. Everybody realizing that, boss, there is significant value in what these folks are doing, and if you don't pay heed, it's just a matter of time. The customer will start moving away. Today, all these private institutions that are very well regarded is because of the relevance, and they're also very smart people that run these programs, that run these universities, right? They're obviously very entrepreneurial, and they're seeing the change trends, and they're already doing. So I would imagine either through partners such as us, or they themselves will figure out how to do this, and they'll start moving towards it. I'm very sure it's just a matter of few more years, definitely not longer, where the whole पूरा नक्शा बदल जाएगा. Everybody will be like, बच्चा बच्चा पूछने लग जाएगा, ठीक है placement ठीक है सर, कैसे process बताओ. See, I believe the biggest reason why everybody is so hung up on placements today is that seems to be the only objective measure. We joke about this,
Yep.
right? You take University A as advertisement, you take University B's advertisement, you just change the logos. It will still look the same practically. इतने हजारों बच्चों का जॉब हो गया, इतने लाख का मतलब एवरेज सीटीसी आ गया, ये बड़े बड़े कंपनीज हैं, इस कंपनी से हर जगह एक ही है, तो देयर इज प्रैक्टिकली नो डिफरेंशिएशन in that sense, right? All of that will change. I'm sure all of us are educating the parent and the student, saying that कि boss process थोड़ा समझो, college में क्या होता है वो थोड़ा समझो, हाँ, teaching learning process क्या है, that education is happening. People are also already seeing outcomes. People are getting placed at the end of first year in our system, and that is making a huge wave in the demand side also. And when all of this starts percolating, and today, thanks to all the proliferation with social media and the digital awareness that the common person today has, he or she is definitely asking questions. And gone are the days when if you're a large institution, आपको सुनना पड़ता था, आपकी मतलब everybody would just listen to you. But today that's not the case. Students take things up on their hands and they go fight with the promoter. Even the largest of institutions, they have direct access, thanks to social media, to the promoter of the university or the institution, and they just directly hit them up. And with that, a sort of a mindset change, I would imagine the service provider, which is the education institution, will be required to listen to the customer and start moving fast towards this new age ways of doing things, I would imagine.
I think one last bit, Rajesh, is that हमने ना बहुत सारी बात करी on the side of say partners like us on the university side and all that, but एक third B player है इस पूरे ecosystem में, which is the students, right? And that's one last bit that I want to discuss. कि how do you say attract good students, and once you get them in, uh, how do you ensure that they are at it, they're working hard? क्या challenges आ रहे हैं आपको on the student side?
Yeah, so let's just think about it, right? We talk about students being not employable and they being like not doing well and all of those things. I mean, this has been, every generation grows about the next generation. हमारे ज़माने में हम तो फिर भी ठीक थे, but ये था वो था and all of those things. But आजकल के बच्चे sort of a dialogue तो आज भी चलता है. But if you go back and talk to anybody, I mean, including yourself, when you just rewind back on day one of college, in your head you are clear that, boss, when I graduate, I'll be the best guy out there, right? Number one, nobody goes to a college thinking वो waste हो जाएगा. Nobody wants to be like, भाई 3 साल मस्ती करेंगे, चौथे साल में तो जॉब लग जाना है, ये किसी की सोच में नहीं रहता है. At least not during the first few weeks of college. Where do they lose that whole charm when you look at it is, they signed up for a program assuming that they will get ABC skills, exposure and all of those things, and suddenly the reality hits them that ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. अब भले से भले कॉलेज में भी जाइए, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होने वाला है आपको, मतलब फलाना फलाना सब्जेक्ट्स जो ऑलमोस्ट एक्सटेंशन ऑफ योर 12th स्टैंडर्ड है, physics, chemistry, maths that you learned in engineering is just like a marginal step change from what you learned in high school. And these additional subjects which are mandatory subjects, you have no idea why you're even learning them. चलिए इंजीनियरिंग मैकेनिक्स पढ़ा या फिर ग्राफिक्स या डिज़ाइन पढ़ा, बट उसका क्या कॉन्टेक्स्ट है वो कोई बताता नहीं है. So I'm sure if you don't tell somebody why you've been asked to do what you've been asked to do, at least 15 years back शांति से सुन लेते थे, कर देते थे. When you and I were probably in college, we will just listen and probably even do. But kids today don't listen. I mean, I have kids of my own, and unless I clearly tell them why I'm asking them to do what I'm asking them to do, they'll not listen. That is the generational shift that you're dealing with. And given this, that why they are not being told what they are not being told, when we dug deeper into it, university systems still have this by and large high and mighty attitude that यार मैं कॉलेज हूँ, मुझे पता है तुम्हारे लिए क्या अच्छा है, मैं बता रहा हूँ करो, rather than trying and getting into detailing यार देखो this mechanics subject is important, इसमें आपको ये problem solving capability बढ़ाओगे, वो कोई explain करता नहीं है. Somewhere along that is where the whole charm of education is lost. If I take the same context in commerce or physical sciences or anything at all, similar thing. The context of why somebody has been asked to learn something is absolutely missing, and there's zero effort to like make that happen either. Inauguration में orientation में होता है कि आपके 4 साल ऐसे मतलब सुनहरा होगा, ये होगा, वो होगा, मजा आएगा, सब कुछ बोल के end of the day that's gone out of the window. I believe that is the crux to solving for motivation, sustaining interest of students. If you keep constantly telling a student, boss, you've been asked to do this, you've been asked to learn this, because this at a point in time in the immediate future is going to come in handy. That is the crux of it, is what we realized, and it's beautiful. In fact, in our system, students spend almost 60 hours a week. पढ़ाई करता है 60 घंटे, सुबह 9 बजे बैठता है, 7:30 बजे तक बैठता है. We don't force, we don't be realistic, we don't do nothing. It's up to the student to do it. He or she is voluntarily doing it because he knows that at the end of certain of these milestones, he's going to get ABC benefits. दुनिया benefits पे चलती है यार, motivation पे चलती है, rewards पे चलती है. It's not using a stick that you can wield somebody. चलो एक दिन कर लिया, एक हफ्ता कर लिया, उसके बाद क्या होगा? बगावत होगा. Nobody is going to sustain 4 years of learning journey. So that's been our biggest insight. Sustaining interest is purely a function of giving the context and keep on reinforcing the context, and just keep reminding them the purpose of why they are there in that place in the first place. Not in a very parochial, ekdam high and mighty way nahi, but in a more sensible, motivating way is the other thing I would say. Gen Z को उस हिसाब से हैंडल करना चाहिए ना. अब Gen X जैसे हैंडल करोगे तो it's going to be revolting, and if anything, whatever other issues that we find about substance abuse to whatever else is all going to happen, and lose situation.
And one thing I've realized about Gen Z is that हर बच्चा, हर kid अपने आप में different है, बहुत different है, right?
Absolutely. You can't do a one size fits all at all. More so these days than what it was in the past.
Brilliant discussion, Rajesh. Thank you for coming on the show.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me over, Pratish. Love this conversation.
If you enjoyed this, it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe and share your thoughts, reviews, and the guests you want. Join our group in the description, and दोबारा मिलते हैं next discussion.